Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose, and I'm sure most of you all probably have already heard the news, but in case you haven't, it's done, it's over, it's finalized. Microsoft now, as of today, on Friday the 13th, officially owns Activision Blizzard King. I mean, bravo. It's been a crazy, wild ride, and for those who have followed the journey with me, because we've been all over this from day numero uno, seriously, thank you all for the support, and hopefully I did a good job in explaining things and how things will ultimately unravel. I've always been highly optimistic that this deal would eventually go through because, truthfully, regulators never really had a leg to stand on. It was always politically driven nonsense, which is a sad truth, but it is finally over, and I want to talk about all of that today. What's next, what's happening now, and what the CMA said. Fun times ahead. Now, we do have some other things to talk about as well, though. Keep those timestamps in mind if you want to skip around. But this includes physical media. Is physical media in trouble or not? That's a big question right now with something that just happened. But before we do get into anything, do make sure to hit that subscribe and ring that bell. That way, every time I post a new video, it'll be sent directly to your device. And unlike some of these regulators, we keep the main thing here. This channel is driven by nothing but the passion for the love of gaming. If you love gaming as well, join the party here. Ring that bell. With that said, though, let's just go and jump right into things, starting off with Sonic Superstars. There's been a lot of anticipation for the return of a 2D Sonic game, but this time with a fresh new coat of paint. I mean, this game genuinely looks great from a visual aesthetic, but how does it actually play? Well, reviews are rolling out now, and it currently has a 74 overall score on Metacritic. And okay, so here's the thing. I know everybody wants that 80 plus, as that's kind of the goal to reach with any game, but if you look at the Sonic franchise specifically, despite fans oftentimes really liking these games, critics, for whatever reason, more often than not, they seem to be very harsh on this franchise outside of a few select games. As an example, Sonic Frontiers, that released last year, and it received a 71. Now, I've played that game myself, I platinumed it, and I highly disagree. It's a great game, and if you talk to fans that played that game as well, most will kind of say the same thing. If you look on Steam right now, 92% of its reviews recommends it. Even Sonic Generations, which is remembered as one of the better Sonic games to date, it only has a 77. Now, that might surprise some people because if you talk to fans, they adore that game. So all I'm trying to say here is that you might want to consider fan feedback as well. Maybe see what fans are saying once Superstars releases here sometime soon. I mean, we'll see how all that turns out and see if fans like it. But in the meantime, if you are interested, you can definitely go check out its critic reviews right now. Moving on, though, and so this is a little bit of a weird story. Now, longtime gamers might recognize the name Peter Molyneux, the original designer for the Fable franchise. In some ways, he's helped create some of the most memorable RPGs ever made, but despite making some fan-favorite games, his reputation has always been a little bit controversial. He would tend to overpromise and underdeliver on his games until he eventually left Lionhead and created his own studio, 22 Cans. Now, since then, he's made some smaller games with this new studio, but he claims that his next game is going to be completely different. It's apparently a AAA game that's doing something quite unique based on the way he's describing it, and check this out. He just revealed its setting, and you might also recognize this as well. Its setting is none other than Albion, the same setting that's also used for the Fable franchise. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how is this even legal? How can he use the same setting and name that he helped bring to life in the Fable franchise? Surely Microsoft can do something to stop him, and, well, no, I actually don't think that that's the case here. See, here's the thing that some people are unaware of. Albion is not something that Xbox owns. It's actually an alternative name for Great Britain. So it's really no different than a game like GTA, Grand Theft Auto, being located in Miami. It's just a location inspired by a real-life place. But, you know, coming from the same creator, and that's the amusing part. This is not a coincidence. This is actually kind of genius marketing when you think about it. It's kind of a similar situation as to when former developers, they come together and work on a spiritual successor and then get a ton of recognition. Well, I mean, in the same vein, Peter Molyneux's next game, I'm sure is going to get a lot of coverage for using the same name and location as his breakout RPG, Fable. Now, we still need to actually see this game for ourselves and what it actually is, but yeah, he's already getting some attention today. All right, so let's go and get to the huge, massive breaking story of the day, or really just the breaking story over the last 2 years. That's kind of crazy to think about, but yes, the Activision Blizzard acquisition is finally over after 20 long months. Now, there will be some residual stuff to handle. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that here in just a moment, but first, let's break this down piece by piece, and that starts off with the CMA's decision. They announced early in the morning that they approved the buyout, but their statement is truly hysterical. I mean, we'll just kind of word it that way, but if there was ever any doubt that their entire tirade was driven by political motives, this should end that debate. Even with their final conclusion today, they just couldn't help themselves. This is what they said. With the sale of Activision's cloud streaming rights to Ubisoft, we've made sure Microsoft can't have a stranglehold over this important and rapidly developing market. As cloud gaming grows, this intervention will ensure people get more competitive prices, better services, and more choice. We are the only competition agency globally to have delivered this outcome. I mean, are you kidding me? This honestly is hilariously sad. Not only did they have the audacity to claim they're the only agency to have delivered this outcome, but they also said that cloud gaming is an important and rapidly developing market. I'm going to repeat this for like the 100th time on this channel. The cloud gaming market has zero proof of absolute success for the future. As of today, it makes up 1% of the gaming market, so it's not fast. Its growth has actually been snail slow. Google, they had to leave the market because they were having no success with cloud gaming. And Xbox reportedly has decreased their cloud gaming funding to next to zero in the year of 2023. Why is that? Because gamers right now, as of today, don't care about cloud gaming outside of maybe testing games out before they locally download them themselves. It's a demo service, more or less, as of today. More so, cloud gaming just received a major blow when Apple announced AAA games like Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed can be played on their mobile phones. That is a better future for games on mobile devices than offering them through the cloud. So again, there's no, absolutely zero guarantee that cloud gaming is the future for gaming. Now, it might eventually have success. We'll see about all of that. That is up for debate, if anything else. But without a doubt, the CMA statement is disingenuous at best, saying it's a rapidly developing market. It's no more rapid than a game having 11 players online, and then it has a 100% growth day over day. Congratulations, you now have 22 players. It's still bad, but technically, it's a big growth. Do you see what I'm saying here? I don't know. This is the CMA for you, and their last line is what really tells the entire story here. They always wanted to politically position themselves as a strong regulatory force, and they wanted to show up the EU. That's why you saw a back and forth between the CMA and the EU. They wanted to embarrass each other, and they used this acquisition for their own political gains. It's a sad reality to the world right now, but that's where we kind of are. If you want the truth, though, gamers, they understand the situation more than anybody else, and let me tell you, CMA, we're not dumb. You might want to act smarter than you are, but the truth is, you did a terrible job, and originally, you made the wrong decision. And then when you saw the FTC get embarrassed in court, and meanwhile the cat was chastising you for making baffling decisions, that was when you reversed course, because you didn't want to get embarrassed yourself. So Microsoft allowed you all to save face by extending their deadline. To the CMA, you still look terrible in this entire situation, and you couldn't even handle the final decision gracefully. So congratulations. I'll be thrilled if I never have to talk about the CMA ever again. Goodbye. Unfortunately, though, we do still have to talk about the FTC because their political movement, Yeah, it still continues on. They did announce today that they will continue to face off against Microsoft despite them closing. In their own statement, they said, Microsoft and Activision's new agreement with Ubisoft presents a whole new facet to the merger that will affect American consumers, which the FTC will assess as a part of its ongoing administrative proceeding. The FTC continues to believe this deal is a threat to competition. We're still not focused on consumers. Okay. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen, so this isn't really a big surprise. We talked about it a few days ago as well. They don't really have much of a case to work with, and it's only gotten worse since the last time they were in court and lost. Sony has already signed a contract, which was their big argument in the first place, and now Activision's cloud gaming rights is with Ubisoft. So they don't really have much to work with here, but this is what I meant earlier. This will be some of the residual things that we talk about in the coming months, but I don't really foresee this being more than a nuisance at the end of the day. Now, as for Bobby Kotick, the Activision CEO, I know there's been a lot of questions on whether or not he will remain at Activision post-acquisition, and he did reveal today that he's going to stick around until the end of the year. Phil Spencer did request him to stay, which I think does make sense. They're hoping for a smooth transition, and it'll give them some time to integrate over the next couple months. With all that said, though, let's go ahead and focus on the good stuff here. What should you as a gamer expect from this acquisition? And, well, we really know two things right now. One is that Call of Duty will remain multi-platform. That's been very clear. Now, there will be some questions with some of their other franchises. That is a question Microsoft will need to clarify a little bit more clearly. Will future games like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, StarCraft, and Hexen, will those be exclusive to Xbox or not? That is something that we need to know. Also, what about new IP from Activision Blizzard? I imagine at the bare minimum, new IP will likely be exclusive to Xbox going forward, but it is something that they might want to clear up. Now, I think that they will have some kind of roundtable event like they did with Bethesda, so hopefully they will announce something like that sometime here soon, and then they can kind of answer all of those questions. One thing is for sure, though, and this is the second thing that we know right now, Game Pass subscribers, that's really going to be the main group that immediately benefits from this acquisition. Now, don't go in expecting their brand new games to be available in Game Pass just yet. Both Activision and Phil Spencer are pointing to next year before it gets games like Diablo 4 and Modern Warfare 3. But starting next year, subscribers should start to expect day one releases, including the next Call of Duty. That is massive, by the way. It's going to be very interesting to see Xbox Game Pass growth over the next couple years. Honestly, though, for the time being, a slow rollout of their existing library might actually be a better outcome for Game Pass currently. We've talked about this a lot this month, but gamers only have so much time. So if they release 50 games into Game Pass this month, realistically, you're not going to play all 50 of those games. So a slow rollout might actually be better, and that way it will keep players engaged for a longer period of time, as they'll constantly have something new to look forward to each and every month. It's honestly just kind of staggering to think about, though. Xbox has a ton of studios and IP under their umbrella now, and that brings me to my final point here. I feel like there's always questions about Xbox's future, but I think today really cements a turning point for their brand. It solidifies their future as a true gaming giant. They have a very bright future with a lot of resources now, and Xbox, they're here to stay for a long time coming. A $70 billion acquisition, I mean, that means they are serious about gaming. So big congrats to Team Xbox and also gamers alike. We can all say it together now, it's finally over. The deal is done. Moving on, though, a big story has started to make the rounds, and that's that Best Buy plans to stop selling Blu-rays and DVDs in 2024. Talk about an end of an era. This was originally a rumor, though, but it was confirmed today, and this is a major blow for physical media. However, do keep in mind that this does not impact games as of right now, though there is a separate rumor from somebody over at Limited Run Games that claims that there's rumblings of Walmart maybe moving away from physical Xbox games sometime soon. Now that is huge if true, so we'll kind of see what happens there, but it's clear. You're starting to see this shift away from physical media. Digital has dominated the movie industry for quite some time, and it's gotten to the point that Best Buy is moving on, and that's a big retailer, and that leaves a lot of questions for both movies and games. Now, Best Buy will continue to sell games. You don't have to worry about that. They confirmed that today. But you have to wonder, with more gamers gravitating towards digital, how long will physical games be around? I mean, obviously, console manufacturers, they would prefer digital games. If everything was all digital, to them, that would mean that they would have full control over everything in their own digital stores. They could just cut out the middleman and make more money. And that's really what all of this is about. They want that control. Honestly, we've known this for a while, but this is just kind of the latest realization that physical media could maybe be on its way out eventually as digital continues to rise. And I'm sure that these game companies right now, they're looking at that physical to digital split, and they're wondering to themselves, at what point can we realistically transition to completely digital without facing a ton of backlash? I think that's really the only reason they haven't done it to this point, because they know they will face a ton of backlash as of right now. I think that there is still a large portion of gamers out there who would buy things physically, so I don't think that we are at that point yet where they're ready to just ditch physical media, but you do have to kind of wonder about next generation. Will the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox, whatever you want to call it, they have weird naming, but will those include physical drives or not? And I think with today's news, that concern, it only grows from here. I mean, we'll see what happens, but let me know what you all think about this. Give me your predictions for next generation consoles. Will they include a disk drive or not? Let me hear it in the comments below. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, with Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2 releasing on the same day, which do you plan on playing first? And okay, so the majority of you chose Mario Wonder. It feels like the closer we get to its release, the more excited people get, because it truly looks impressive. That's not something that you say a lot about 2D platformers, but when you look at Mario Wonder, it genuinely looks very creative and innovative. Even for myself, and I don't think that I would have said this earlier in the year, but I'm actually probably going to start with Mario Wonder as well. I'm really excited to play it with my family. I think it's going to be a fun game to play with them. And I mean, I'm excited to play Spider-Man 2 as well, don't get me wrong, but it's been a long time since I've played a 2D Mario game, and this game, it looks truly special to me. I just hope it actually is. I hope it delivers on what I think it could be. But either way, both these games, they look great, and I don't think either choice is wrong. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.